stimulated new approaches. It has encouraged the society to approach us for surgical treatments. It has been rewarded to us socially, professionally, and financially largely because of its cosmetic appeal. And cosmesis is a part of an index of feminine psychology, and breast is an indicator of femininity, especially in countries like India. And so I say surgery leaves scars not only on body but on mind as well. That is also true for a female in India planning to get married or recently married, till the female is established in her in-laws house by having grown-up kids. So what I thought were the benefits of endoscopic approach. It provides excellent magnification. The other benefits I thought, if we could avoid scar from the breast. There was only one study by Jacob et al. In New England Journal of Medicine which talked about scar as an independent risk factor for breast cancer. I have no personal experience of it. There are lots of studies on quality of life and scar on the breast, especially in the malignancy. Not much so in benign, because benign pathologies there is a controversy of surveillance and keeping the patient under regular follow-up for surgical excision. So, apart from these disadvantages of scar on the breast, although circumarular breast scar is a cosmetic one, and I'll agree that it is hardly visible, but there are reports that it disturbs the nipple areolar sensation. It can be cause of pain during breastfeeding and lactation. As the previous study said, it can be a risk for malignancy. And cosmesis is evident because one of the companies in the United States sells circumarular silicone patches, and it claims that it worth more than $400 million a year. And scar on the breast is an important parameter in evaluating the quality of life, which has become very important in all our surgeries nowadays. This is what I took from the internet website of this company, Biodermis company. So it means ladies are concerned about circumarular scar. So what we thought was the solution. We thought we'll do a transaxillary breast lump excision. We found a single case report from a Japanese surgeon published long back. Then there were reports with the similar aim of avoiding a scar. People were doing ultrasound guided needle extirpation, radiofrequency assisted or cryoablation. And our plastic surgery friends modified the circumarular incision by making it zigzag and more camouflageable in the nipple areolar region. This is what I do. I am standing on the side of the lesion. The trolley is opposite me. And initially I started with 3 ports, and I presented 2 ports at SAGES, which has been published now in surgical endoscopy. But I'll show now I'm doing only with 1 port. And I find it much easier to be replicated by my residents. So the first port is camouflaged posteriorly along the anterior axillary fold. I give it posteriorly, then slide the skin with my left hand and direct the trocar bluntly, 10 millimeter trocar, blindly and bluntly, feeling it superficially by my left hand, directed towards the position of the lump. The other port, after we create the space and do capnocephalation, is made according to our prior discussion with the lady and according to the convenience of approach to the lump. And I'm not doing it anymore, 2 ports. Can you click on the videos, both of them simultaneously? So, right side just shows the axillary approach, and I'm trying to palpate the lump. And this is how it looks after blunt dissection with the trocar, as we do even in circumarular incision with our finger. I feel it is same, because you're feeling the lump superficially if it is big enough with your left hand, and using the trocar and telescope like a finger coupled with the TP experience of hernia. So after initial space creation, I put in a second trocar according to a position agreed upon by this lady. That helps in dissection. The dissection is largely sharp because all these benign lumps are well capsulated. There is a very intense preoperative workup for these patients, again following our institution's research guidelines that they have to be benign. I have no experience with malignant lumps, and none of these lumps were reported malignant on histopathology. So we follow a very rigid protocol for excluding malignancy before taking up for axillary approach, and we discussed with the lady that this is not the standard approach and this is likely to cause trouble to your axillary structures, and you might have pain in the upper limb. This was the protocol given to me before I started this study. So we proceed with the dissection all around the lump, aided by our external field on the breast. This is these videos are from two of very early experiences. I wanted to show them because I'm using two ports. After this, so once the lump has been dissected free from the breast tissue, the right one is hardly 2 centimeters or 1.5 centimeters. The left one is about 3 to 4 centimeters. The lumps up to 2 centimeters I found could be easily taken out from the 10 mm port, because then I'll change over to 5 mm telescope, put the 5 mm telescope into the working port and put in a gallbladder grasper in the 10 mm port and pull it out. The lumps bigger than 2 or 2.5 centimeters needed some extension of the axillary skin incision, but that was not a problem. This is a single port technique, and this is a 19-year-old girl we did about a month back, having two big lumps more than 5 centimeters in size. She was very keen on axillary approach. She heard about it. She was willing for all the rest. She said, even if it is malignant, I want to go for this. But we did all the workup. The first and the only port, 12 millimeter, 10 to 12 millimeter, introduced along the location pre-discussed and agreed upon by the girl. Blunt advancement towards the lump guided by the superficial hand, and then all blunt dissection with trocar after connecting carbon dioxide, just like we do with finger and circumillular, staying close to the lump, feeling the hitting sensation of the trocar to the lump. That is what I am guided by. And the superficial hand, can you click on this right video as well? Sometimes when we can't feel the lump, if it is a small lump, you can't feel it after capnocephalation, then I put in a spinal needle from the skin on the breast. And that spinal needle helps as a stabilizer on the lump, as you will see on the right side, because right side is a very small lump, but it was painful lump. The small lumps are easier to dissect, but difficult to be felt from the external hand. So that is why we were doing 2 ports before, or 3 ports. But now I put in a spinal needle from the skin. That fixes the lump. And this is, I think, 125% or 140% of the normal video recording. Just to accommodate it here, I increase the speed of recording. So its dissection is not that fast. We have to be very slow because still very early experience. So this is how I put in a spinal needle from the skin. It fixes the lump. So that when I take out the port and put in the grasper, I can direct the grasper in the direction of spinal needle and grasp it and feel it. So there is no need of the second port for localizing the lump. If the lump is big, then you feel it from the surface. You don't need to have another port to localize it. So that was big, slightly bigger lump, the younger girl, and 2 lumps taken out from the same port. We do a check endoscopy again. We were very worried about bleeding in beginning. I put in drains in about 5 or 6 patients in the beginning. Again, following the guidelines, did compression bandages. There was nothing in the drains. Then I had an idea, why not do a check endoscopy? Even this simple thing escaped my mind. So now, when we started putting in an endoscope, because initially I was very excited, happy, okay, lump is out, I am through. But now I put in an endoscope, I have never found a bleeder. The plane is so good and so avascular. I stopped putting in drains, stopped doing any compression bandages, and all the ladies are back to their A, B, C, D, E, F, as I say, activity, paths, commitments, diet, exercise, family life and fun within 48 hours of surgery. We follow them up for axillary pain, any evidence of clinical evidence of injury to the vascular structures, that is, we do palpate them, temperature, according to the protocol laid down by the institution. I have never encountered any lady having persistent complication relating to pain in the axilla. Although this pain in axilla and induration along the tract is there in all these ladies for up to 3 weeks. So this is how you see after excision of 2 lumps, it looks like. And axilla incision is, I think, more acceptable to ladies. This is our total experience. We have done 2 cases more after this. And both of them in the later experience have been unmarried because it is more acceptable to them. There have been multiple lumps. The lumps have been from all quadrants. I found no difficulty or no difference in approaching even the medial most parts of the lump. Lump size has been up to 12 centimeter plus and 8 centimeter plus. Operative time is coming down from 2 hours to a half an hour or even 10 minutes for a small and single lump with spinal needle. As I said, there have been no evidence of surgical significant emphysema or injury to these structures. No need of additional painkillers besides paracetamol for more than 3 days. And on follow-up at 3rd day and 7th day and 3rd week, I had no evidence clinically of any collection or hematoma. And none of the specimens extracted was reported as malignancy because we were very rigid in pre-operative protocol. This is one of the ladies who agreed for the post-operative photographs. Most of the ladies refused me bluntly after surgery. Although now, since it came in newspapers in India, more and more young girls are coming and they are willing for photographs as well. So we published it in surgical endoscopy already. With single port technique, we'll publish it more with the photographs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, for that very interesting presentation. We have time for questions from the audience.
3 very quick questions, quick answers. 1, what gas pressures do you use?
12 millimeters of mercury is a maximum. And now we have found when we lift the nipple and areola after initial insufflation, the space is maintained irrespective of gas.
2, have you thought about leaving a clip behind just in case any pathology came out and needed to localize it later?
That's a guideline given to me by the institution.
And 3, at what point do we do this with nodes?
Pardon, sir?
At what point do we do this with axillary nodes?
Axillary nodes.
Do you think you could do this with axillary nodes, doing a node dissection?
No, I have no experience, sir, because pre-operative protocol says any evidence of axillary lymph nodes, any evidence of malignancy on cytology or true-cut biopsy or mammography, I can't take up these ladies for my approach because it needed a lot of time to get through me doing it, starting it.
I think it'll be applicable to nodes, though. I mean, I think I can envision doing nodes like this at some point in the future.
Right, sir. As I said in my last presentation, I was the worst critic of laparoscopic surgery. I had done, believe me, in my residency more than 5,000 gallbladders. And I used to say I will never do lap chole. So I am a late converter to laparoscopic cholecystectomy. That was 94. And I became a regular laparoscopic surgeon only in 98 after visiting Mr. Aston in Hull in England. I got convinced that I can do it. And I was a urologist to start with. I qualified as a urologist from All India Institute. Because of the laparoscopy, I became a general surgeon again.
Thank you again, Dr. Agarwal.
Thank you, sir.
One question, sorry. You say you are trying to not do it for malignancy. And of course, some of the surgery you do to rule out malignancy, and eventually you will have some malignancy. What is your hesitation that not do for malignancy?
No, because this approach needed a discussion with our research and ethics committee, which we have a very large group there. So they clearly told me the clinically lump has to be mobile, which was good for me also to start with. Preoperative evaluation, triple test and whatsoever has to be absolutely indicative of a benign pathology, no suspicion of even malignancy and no suspicion of axillary lymph nodes. And most of these patients, I personally feel, can be followed non-surgically. Fibroadenomas in young girls. So that's why we included only those girls who had already decided for surgical excision. They wanted to go for surgical excision because either they were getting married or they were not having children in Indian families. It's a big thing for ladies if 2 years after marriage the lady is infertile, her mother-in-law and everybody will start accusing her breast or something like that. So ladies already made up their minds to get the breast lump excised, which was absolutely benign. And I have still not got clearance for research and ethics committee for trying it on suspicious lumps needing excision biopsy or malignant. Although I am pretty comfortable in my heart and my thinking that we can have a 1 centimeter margin also if we use a ultra-season or a good energy source. We just feel the lump, fix it with the needle and go all around it. Go in the healthy breast tissue by 1 centimeter. Or do injected eye, even sentinel lymph node biopsy should be wonderful with this. I have no experience.